What is mathematics? When we work with students, it's almost as though we assume that they know what mathematics is and we know what mathematics is. And here we are, we have two people talking about a subject in a situation where neither might even know what the subject is. Now, we might think we know what mathematics is because we see some of how it works, but what is mathematics? There's a famous mathematician by the name of Leonhard Euler who wrote a book called Elements of Algebra. And in his book, one of the first things he talks about in the very beginning is that question. What is mathematics? And his book is one of the books I recommend for every student of mine. As a matter of fact, I registered an organization in Nigeria years ago called Wilberforce Euler Academy because of how much I love Leonhard Euler's work. And Leonhard Euler is a great example of humility and excellence in the work that he did. I would love to work with tutors to better understand what math even is and how it works so that we can then convey that information to students and help them begin to see the beauty that is inherent in mathematics. Math is beautiful even if there's no application. None. If there was no application to the concept, it can still be very beautiful. But a lot of students are sitting there going, why am I doing this? What's the point? And I don't even know how to do it well because someone allowed me into this class when I was barely making it in the last class. Our goal is simple. We want everyone around the world to love mathematics and to flourish in it and to take them from counting to calculus. So we're going to teach them about people like Leonhard Euler right here. We're going to teach them from Dr. Francis Su's book, Mathematics for Human Flourishing. And this is where our journey begins. So what is mathematics, right? The science of quantity, so to speak, Euler put it. Euler wrote his book around 1750, which was around the time that Daniel Bernoulli, the guy who did Bernoulli's principle, that was like his classmate growing up, right? So Euler writes a book, Elements of Algebra, which of course comes many years after Euclid's book, Euclid's Elements. And then Carl Friedrich Gauss, of course, was also in the 1700s. He read Euler's book, right? Gauss was born in 1777. But we can see that Euler learned from Euclid, right? And Euler learned from Newton. Newton lived from 1642 to 1727. But then we have Gauss learning from Euler as well. Euler is a central key figure in mathematics. So when I think of my student, I'm thinking of how can I inspire them to think like Euler? Because if you want someone to play basketball, it makes sense to tell them about some of the best basketball players. Now, of course, it also depends on what position they're going to play on the basketball court. So if they're going to play as a point guard, you might tell them about people like Steve Nash or John Stockton or Pistol Pete, right? Or you might tell them about Stephen Curry, who's also like a shooting guard, honestly, because he's so good at shooting threes. So you want to find out where's your student at, what's in their toolkit, and how can you guide them to their destination. So what's the destination? The destination is calculus, statistics, discrete mathematics, data science, linear algebra, and any other calculus the student wants to do beyond that. That's Calc 2, Calc 3, differential equations. But those 5 courses, like bare minimum in the AI age for several reasons. Number one, because it's like necessary to get into the AI age if you want to be a computer scientist to understand those fundamental skills. But it's also because you have AI to help you learn those things and supplement your textbook and your coaching, the coaching you're receiving. So a few years ago, over 10 years ago, I wrote a book called Tools for Mastering Mathematics, which is, of course, one of the books that the tutors can read. And it talks about strategies for becoming exceptional in mathematics. My goal was it says connecting individuals who enjoy doing mathematics, right? It says by getting this resource, you are now in touch with a group of individuals who enjoy doing mathematics. And of course, feel free to send any questions, thoughts, comments, objections. So at the very beginning, I start with the same question of what mathematics even is. But before I read that definition, let me just read briefly from my introduction. It started as an article, okay? And this article, the first article, is about learning and mastering principles in mathematics. It also gives teachers some ideas that could be used to inspire students as they proceed in their education. One of the things our students need today is math coaches, people who are willing and ready to inspire them to excel. For some students, math is not exciting. They sometimes think that they're incapable of doing mathematics. However, some of them even say things like, it's just hard. But is there anything hard? Is it a matter of, have you given it enough time and the right strategy? Because hard, that's a tricky word, but people use that quite often. So I want to show people how math can be used as a tool to help students in academics and beyond. Math is a fascinating subject, just like many other subjects. However, many students do not know what math is or how they're supposed to excel in it. So they conclude that there's nothing fascinating about mathematics. Many people never get to see what math really is and why they should appreciate it. People appreciate subjects when they either, like if they understand what it's used for, or if they see the beauty that you give them time to digest. In our math classes, most times we're not giving people time to just see the beauty of, here's a concept, here's a rational expression that is going to be simplified to become one at the end, where you have to factor the polynomials. I mean, some of those problems are just beautiful. People appreciate many other subjects, but they either despise or give up trying to master mathematics. Our goal in this academy is to show how a better understanding of mathematics can help students to appreciate it more. If they appreciate it more, they're more likely to find ways to master it, and then for some, they might begin to enjoy it. I agree that people can master math without appreciating it. That is true. Somebody could be good at math, but say, it's okay. I think what you need to do in that case is we need to introduce them to more of the history of mathematics and show them just how people came upon some of those ideas. Give them a deeper understanding of what people used to do before these ideas became what they are. Okay, what is math? A few metaphors. Math is like a sport or a game with rules. Math is like riding a bicycle. Math is like building a house. You need a solid foundation. It is a tool which can be used to derive more tools. And math, believe it or not, is like an art. Math is beautiful. I'm going to take each one of these things, or each one of these tools, and we're going to go over each one. How is math like a sport or a game? How is math like riding a bicycle? How is math like building a house? Let's go down the list one by one in the next series of videos. I will also share with you about math in Nigeria versus math in America. The math that students learn in the K-12 space in Nigeria, literally in terms of volume and content and time, I would argue it might be double what Americans do in their K-12 space, which means that a Nigerian who comes to college in America who was serious in math in high school will be much better than an American. And that is, like, it doesn't have to be that way. Now, of course, for me, it doesn't, like, I want everyone to flourish in math. But what I'm saying is America, in one sense, is holding itself back. Why? We have electricity, we have water. Why can't we do more math and get back on track to graduate with calculus, discrete math, and data science? That's part of my goal. I'm not mad at anyone, by the way. I just want people to flourish in math and in life in general. We're going to talk about the math education system in America and some of the challenges that it's facing. We're going to talk about why math, again, is unique. We're going to talk about why we should teach math differently. We need to be careful with how much duplication we give in our math classes, the issue of lack of mastery, the issue of students not even knowing what, like, you ask a student sometimes, hey, what math class are you in? I don't know. I guess I'm in pre-algebra. What are you learning? I don't know. I'm just in chapter 7 in the book. We need to find a way to get students to understand the nature of mathematics and to put in the effort to continue in their journey towards mastery, taking good notes, which is part of why I wrote these workbooks, by the way, because I want students to learn how to take good notes. We're going to talk about fundamental principles that need to be taught in mathematics, ways to get students interested in learning mathematics, why you should excel in math, or why you should want to excel. Notice I said that you should want to excel. When your society gets to a point where it's blessed with so many resources, you now start getting more people saying things like, I don't care, why does it matter? So we have to get them to care. Like, that is part of the job now. The big thing is, how do you even get them to care? We're going to talk about, hey students, how do you excel in mathematics? We're going to talk about the Math Ambassador Program, the idea that I had years ago. We're going to talk about some tools for teachers to consider for inspiring students. And then, as I said, well, later on in my book, Tools for Master Mathematics, I give students a list of, Nathan just said, and I give them a list of different, sort of a reference guide. Like, here's your times table, addition table, rules of exponents, rules of logarithms. And those are integrated at the end of my workbooks as well. And then lastly, I give students the list of topics which take them from counting to calculus. This is our first lesson in the Counting to Calculus Teacher Training Program or Tutor Training Program. Mathematics is beautiful. Join us or join me as I continue discussing this in our course. Have a blessed day.